Hello and welcome to GadgetGuideUSA. Thanks for watching my SwagTron, formerly known as Swagway T1 torture test. I contacted SwagTron, formerly known as Swagway, in order to do a product review. And of course, whenever they're saying, oh, well, we're thinking about it, so I floated the idea of a torture test. And of course, they jumped right on it. We're like, oh, that's a great idea. That's absolutely abnormal. Most of the time when you tell companies that you want to try to destroy their product in a very efficient manner, they kind of frown upon it and don't really enjoy it. Apparently SwagTron is different, I'm not sure. But apparently it might have something to do with their recent UL listing, UL approval, certification, whatever you want to call it. They say that their SwagTron T1 is, the entire unit is UL 227 listed, and that each individual battery is UL 2271 listed. So maybe that has something to do with wanting me to torture test them. But whatever the case is, they were nice enough to send me 3 units and 3 batteries in order to test. All in different colors. I have a dark red here, I have a blue, and I have a black. They are available in other colors. They have pink, blue, and white. And gold maybe. I'm not sure about the colors. I'm pretty sure those are the other colors. But I don't really care. Those are the 3 colors I got. So I look forward to actually disassembling these and destroying them as much as possible. So essentially I have a series of torture tests that I've designed, and I only have a few right now, maybe 8, but I may add some if I can think of some as time goes by. So essentially we're going to start with, I'm in an abandoned warehouse today, and I was lucky enough to cash in on somebody else's failure as this warehouse is moving out. You can actually hear the drills in the background. They're taking out all the shelves and rollers and things like this, which is why I'm here today for the first step of the torture test, which is going to be a distance test. I have 224 pounds of heavy weights, or free weights like you lift weights with from the house. So essentially my goal here is to put 224 pounds. Just to note, it says the maximum weight on the box is 220 pounds, which is why I chose 224. I'm just going to put a couple small weights here to depress this pedal, and then I'm going to set a box on top full of the other 216 pounds or whatever's left over. And essentially just run it here. I'm going to give you an example like this. Yeah, it sounds scary, it is scary, but at the same time I'm essentially just going to put the weights there. If I have to mount it through the bottom, I might tie something there so it doesn't zip back and forth. But I'm going to just go ahead and put it on max speed and let it go till the SwagTron dies. And the goal of that is to see its overall distance. I'm going to calculate it using time and the maximum speed of 8 miles per hour, assuming that is correct, because I will have it to max speed. The next test is going to be safe stop. Of course, I have a Swagway X1. You guys have probably seen my teardown from before, where I take it apart and show you the battery. I've opened one of these batteries before, and kind of just look at the interior components. But the Swagway X1, one of the downsides is if you're riding it and the battery dies, it just stops balancing and kind of dumps you off. It has this beeping to tell you the battery's low. Beep, beep, beep. It's really loud too and irritating, but of course I don't always have the best decision-making skills, so I decided to ride it anyway, and when it dies it just kind of dumps you off unceremoniously, and it's not a very positive experience. So if your Swagway X1 is beeping, get off. But this apparently has safe stop technology, so when you're getting low on battery, it won't just dump you off. It's supposed to slow down its speed so much that you'll know the battery is dead but continuing to balance. So immediately when I'm done with the distance test, I'm going to go ahead and test that, since it's going to be most likely dead. So it's just a great time to test the safe stop, or whatever they call it, technology. Then the next test is actually going to be a frozen test or freezer test. Essentially what I'm going to do is put the SwagTron T1 in a freezer overnight. I guess it's going to be about 12, 16 hours, somewhere in there. And that may sound like unusual, what good is that? But both lithium-ion cells that are inside this aluminum battery pack, as well as the wire-wound motors, don't do very well with very drastic temperature changes, where you go from below 32 degrees Fahrenheit up to around, I guess the operating temperature is around 90 degrees. I mean, you can feel these wheels getting warm. So my goal there is to take it right out of the freezer and then ride it, really fast as much as possible, and ride it hard. So the temperature fluctuates very rapidly from frozen to normal operating temperature, which can cause failure in the wire wound motors or in the lithium ion battery or whatever else. So my goal is just to test that. The next test is actually I'm going to go on to the batteries, and I'm going to test those. SwagTron claims they were the only one to get UL2271 approval but due to a 10-ton crush test. I may have said that wrong, but it was something along those lines. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to rent a truck, preferably a semi or something really heavy, and I'm actually just going to park the wheels. I'm going to essentially set 2x4s on both sides, and I'm going to drive the semi onto the battery, remove the 2x4s or whatever wood is appropriate, and make sure that this can take the whole weight of the semi. I know that's not a 10-ton crush test, but I really don't have a 10-ton crush device, and that's the best I can do. But I figure if I can park a semi-truck or a large truck on this and it still holds, it's doing something right. So I look forward to that. It's probably going to be overall a little boring because we know it can hold 10 tons, but at the same time, I don't believe anything I hear and only half of what I see. I'm a natural skeptic, so I'm going to put it to the test myself. Of course, the next test is actually going to be a flame test on the battery. What I'm going to do is I'm going to take a map torch, and I'm going to hold it on this battery, not myself. I'll probably use an articulated arm or some such other safety setup to actually heat this up until the lithium-ion cells rupture. This is supposed to be an airtight container, so ideally what's going to happen is that the lithium-ion cells heat up in there. Of course, they're going to burst because I'm putting a torch on it as they expand. And hopefully, I'm hoping that this is a little expansion thing, and it should like poof, pop out, and then, to avoid, any catastrophic explosions. So the idea is once that pops out, all the hot gas in the lithium-ion batteries is going to escape and not allow any oxygen in to cause a fire. So we're going to go ahead and do that test and see how that turns out. I'm pretty sure that that's a dangerous test. I'm not going to have my face anywhere close to it. Unfortunately, my camera does have to be close, so I'm risking the life of the camera that I love to test this battery. So I'm hoping nothing goes wrong, but I imagine if you're watching, you're probably hoping it goes really wrong. But, it happens. All right, the next thing is I'm actually going to take the SwagTron T1, I'm going to ride around, I'm probably going to get a little warm and everything, then I'm going to toss it into a bucket of water. It will be completely submerged, but I'm only going to leave it there for a second, then I'm going to pull it right back out and try to ride it. This is supposed to be sprayed with some type of silicone or something inside, and hopefully eventually I'll get to a tear down of these to actually see what it is. They're not listed as waterproof whatsoever, so most likely the water test is going to destroy it. But first I'm going to try a quick dunk. It's supposed to be water resistant or splash resistant, which I've rode my Swagway X1 through all kinds of puddles, so I know that it is water resistant. At the same time, I'm going to do a quick dunk on this, see if it still works, and then I'm going to completely submerge it, maybe leave it for 60 seconds, see if it still works, and if it still works, maybe submerge it for 5 minutes. I'm not sure how far I'm going to go in that area because I'm not really sure what it's going to take. But at the same time, I'm pretty sure the water test is going to destroy one of them. The next test I'm going to do, after I do all that, I'm still going to have 2 units, hopefully, left. So I'm going to have to destroy one in a glorious fashion. I have access to a flamethrower. Flamethrowers are illegal weapons of war. What I have access to is a brush burner, which for some reason is legal in the state of Indiana. So I'm going to take a brush burner with a really long gout, and I'm literally going to light it on fire. Just to see what happens. I guess we've already seen the flame test and everything, but I have 3, I only want 1, so I'm planning on destroying 2. If the flamethrower thing, I can't get it approved and I can't maybe afford the fire department to come out and all that to watch, which is what you're supposed to do with a fire test, I may blow it up if I can find some legal explosives, or I may actually run it over with the truck I use to park the battery on. I really haven't decided. If this actually makes it to the water test okay, I actually may destroy 2 in a glorious fashion, so I haven't really decided. The end test. If you're watching this intro right now, I'm going to slowly release the episodes as I complete them, so hey, let me know. How should I destroy these SwagTrons if they make it through the torture test? Also, if you have any ideas for torture tests yourself, I would love to hear them. I'm always open to new ideas, and I obviously have 3 to destroy. I would like to keep 1, but at the same time, if you have a really, really neat idea for destroying it, I'll go ahead and cash in. So stay tuned. The very next test is going to be the roller test, which I've already explained, but essentially I'm just going to put it down and let it go there. So I'm looking forward to that. So if you want to see all the tests, stay tuned. Like I said, leave your comments below for any torture tests you recommend. I hope you enjoyed this introduction, and I hope you're looking forward to the torture test as much as I am. Thank you for your time.